Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samaa News. Here are today's headlines. Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro has been transferred to Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center in New York following a U.S. military operation in Venezuela, U.S. media report. Maduro is expected to face federal criminal charges related to drugs and weapons and will be formally arraigned in Manhattan Federal Court in the coming days. His wife may also face arraignment, though her detention status is unclear. The Metropolitan Detention Center, known for housing high-profile inmates such as Ghislaine Maxwell and R. Kelly, is a high-security facility with a reputation for harsh conditions. At least 40 people, including civilians and military personnel, were killed in recent U.S. strikes on Venezuela, the New York Times reports. The strikes followed a U.S. military operation that captured President Nicolás Maduro. One airstrike hit a three-story residential building in Catia La Mar, near Caracas's main airport, destroying homes and displacing families. Among the dead was 80-year-old Rosa Gonzalez and members of her family. Survivors described widespread loss and despair. The operation, involving air, land and sea forces, escalates tensions between Washington and Caracas. Also, Venezuela's defense minister says a large part of President Nicolás Maduro's security team was killed during the US raid that led to his capture. Speaking on state television, General Vladimir Padrino did not give casualty figures, but confirmed the armed forces have been activated nationwide. Meanwhile, a senior Venezuelan official says the government remains united behind President Maduro. Interior Minister Diosdado Cabello said there is only one president and urged supporters not to fall for what he called enemy provocations. Venezuela's acting president, Delcy Rodriguez, has urged citizens to defend national sovereignty after US forces detained President Maduro. Speaking on state-linked Telesur, Rodriguez condemned the operation as US aggression, saying it caused military and civilian casualties, and demanded Maduro's immediate release. Earlier, Venezuela's Supreme Court had ordered Rodriguez to assume the role of acting president to ensure continuity of government and defend national sovereignty during Maduro's absence. New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani says he has spoken directly with US President Donald Trump and opposed what he described as a pursuit of regime change in Venezuela. Speaking to reporters, Mamdani said he called the president to formally register his objection, arguing that such actions violate federal and international law. His remarks come after US Special Forces captured Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro and transported him out of Venezuela to a jail in New York. The UN Security Council will convene on Monday following a US military operation in Venezuela that captured President Nicolás Maduro. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres called the action a dangerous precedent for international diplomacy. Colombia, backed by Russia and China, requested the meeting to discuss the legality of the operation and its impact on global peace and security. Guterres' spokesperson, Stefan Dujarric, said the strike breaches international law and the UN Charter. The United States has lifted restrictions on Caribbean airspace imposed after its military operation in Venezuela, allowing flights to resume from midnight Eastern Time. Major US carriers say services will gradually restart, though airlines warn it may take days to clear passenger backlogs. The United States has lifted restrictions on Caribbean airspace imposed after its military operation in Venezuela, allowing flights to resume from midnight Eastern Time. Major US carriers say services will gradually restart, though airlines warn it may take days to clear passenger backlogs. China has said that it is deeply shocked and strongly condemns the United States' use of force against the sovereign state of Venezuela and its action against the country's president. The Chinese Foreign Ministry said the US move constitutes a serious violation of international law and an attack on Venezuela's sovereignty and independence. It warned that such actions threaten peace and security in Latin America and the Caribbean. Colombian President Gustavo Petro warned of the dangers of military escalation in the region, urging that peace, respect for international law. Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel denounced the U.S. strike as a criminal attack and state terrorism against Venezuela and the region. Iran's foreign ministry also condemned the operation, describing it as a flagrant violation of Venezuela's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Brazil's president, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, has condemned the U.S. military attack on neighbor Venezuela and the capture of his Venezuelan counterpart, Nicolás Maduro, saying it crossed an unacceptable line. In a post on X, he said, "These acts represent a grave affront to Venezuela's sovereignty and yet another extremely dangerous precedent for the entire international community." Lula also called for a vigorous response from the United Nations. China's military has launched its annual training for 2026, with high-intensity drills across land, sea, and air forces. The PLA says the exercises focus on real combat readiness, including live-fire assaults, naval strike training, and air combat drills involving J-20 stealth fighter jets. Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar has held a series of meetings with senior Chinese officials in Beijing. According to the Foreign Office, the discussions focused primarily on strengthening bilateral ties between Pakistan and China. Ishaq Dar arrived in Beijing on Saturday to co-chair the 7th round of the Pakistan-China Foreign Ministers' Strategic Dialogue, scheduled for today, alongside Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. The Foreign Office also said Dar met Chinese Executive Vice Premier Ding Shuixiang during his visit. At least 16 people have been killed in Iran during a week of protests driven by soaring inflation, according to rights groups. Unrest has spread across multiple provinces, with clashes reported between demonstrators and security forces. Authorities say arrests are underway, while Iran's supreme leader has warned that the state will not yield, even as pressure mounts at home and abroad. At least 30 people were killed when gunmen attacked a busy market in Nigeria's Niger state. The attackers stormed Kasuavan Daji market, burning stalls, looting food, and opening fire on civilians. Witnesses say women and children were not spared, and several people were abducted as violence spread to nearby villages. Also in Nigeria, at least 25 people have been killed and 14 are still missing after a passenger boat capsized. The canoe, carrying 52 people, overturned at night while travelling from Jigawa State to Yobe State. Authorities say the boat was leaking and overloaded, violating safety rules, as rescue teams continue searching for survivors. One person has been killed and 2 others injured in a Ukrainian drone attack in Russia's western border region. The governor of Belgorod said a drone struck a vehicle, killing a man and seriously injuring a woman and a 4-year-old child. He said both of the injured were taken to hospital in serious condition. Firefighters later extinguished a blaze that engulfed the car following the attack. North Korea launched ballistic missiles on Sunday, coinciding with South Korean President Lee Jae-myung's visit to China and shortly after the U.S. military operation in Venezuela. The strikes mark Pyongyang's first tests in 2 months, raising tensions across East Asia. At least 2 missiles flew 900 to 950 kilometers into the East Sea. Officials said the tests signal North Korea's nuclear deterrence, warning both China and the U.S. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching Samaa News.